Lalo brand ambassador. And as we wrap up this Masturbation May, we just want to say thank you to all of our customers, our fans, for the amazing questions that they've sent in on breaking the barriers about masturbation. We were super overwhelmed about your openness and also your trust in us to be able to answer these questions for you. So without further delay, I'm going to introduce this amazing panel of ladies that I have, and we're going to go through the questions that we feel are the most pertinent and the ones that you can use going into your daily life. I have with me Tatty Macleod and Pamela Perkić. Pamela Perkić. And let's just start introducing Tatty. Go with you first.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me, Cam. Lovely to meet you, Pamela. Really excited to be here. I've been working with Lalo for about the past year. I'm a comedian, a stand-up comedian. I'm also a writer and kind of accidentally an influencer. Lalo is one of the first brands that I teamed up with, and I'm just really excited about their products, and I'm really glad to be involved in this. Anything that's about making masturbation a positive, guilt-free experience, I am so behind.
Love it. Pamela?
Hi, guys. My name is Pamela. I'm from Croatia, actually. It's lovely to meet you both and to be a part of this with you today. My actually first collaboration on Instagram was with Lelo, which was a dream of mine. And it was, I think, already maybe 4 years now. I am a huge Lelo advocate. I love all the products, and I like to say I'm an influencer, but it's more of a chill vibe. I just talk like with my friends, and there's no topics that we do not cover or that are like stigmatized.
Fantastic. So we've got the perfect panel. Let's just start with our first question. Let's just first start with the basic masturbation question. What do you ladies think? Can it be harmful, right, to you? And what are the benefits of masturbation? Pamela, you want to start?
As far as I know, there are no harmful effects of masturbation. I only know of the positive ones, which would be like reducing stress. It helps me sleep. It helps me relax. Sometimes it actually helps me clear my mind. And I think as long as it's done safe and like listening to your own body, I don't think there can be anything harmful in it.
Yeah, exactly. Tatty?
Yes, though I'd say, you got to be careful in those early, this is going to be a TMI, but in the early years, and you don't really know what you're doing and you're just exploring yourself, I want to say, like, just steer away from any kind of like object or household object or vegetable or fruit or just anything which maybe you think, is this what a penis looks like? Definitely stay with your fingers in the initial, and then start to explore with a toy like some of the Lego toys as like your foray into it. That's the only point at which I would say you might want to be concerned. It's just like don't stick a candle up there. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Or anything like prickly or hot. And when it says massage candle, blow out the flame first.
Thank you. I don't want you guys to learn the hard way. But definitely I agree with Pamela that the benefits outweigh the negatives. Well, I mean, unless you put a candle up there, maybe those are really quite bad negatives. But most of the time, the stress-free element to it, the discovery of yourself is just like such a huge positive.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on that discovering of yourself is really understanding, because there's so much. I know that I bought my first vibrator when I was 19. And when I really explored my G-spot and then sort of that internal way of orgasming, I knew it was incredibly empowering moving into my sexual life as an adult. But I had to do that on my own. And I did explore where it is, what kind of feeling it is, how to move my body around. The only harmful thing outside of the don't put anything up there that's prickly or has chemicals on it from the garden, right, is you can sometimes get lost in masturbation where you're only pleasing yourself and not thinking that anybody else can do it as well. And you may lose that. This is more of a psychological thing. You may lose that feeling of wanting to have a physical connection with someone because you can do it better on your own. So separating masturbation and also learning how to communicate with your partner on what makes you feel good via your masturbation. So that was just little tip there. Let's see. Let's move on. Oh, this is a
Agree.
good one.
Would you mind? Sorry, would you mind
Go
if I
on.
add a little something? Just
No, of
because I
course,
was just
please.
thinking when Tatty was talking about household objects, I was thinking something that I really wanted to hear when I was younger, which was I went from like humping pillows and couches around my house to
Ah,
Lelo. So I always felt like I was super weird. No one is doing this. It's just me. And then at like 26, 7, I realized, oh, everybody's humping something. So yeah, I
yeah.
just wanted to put that out there. Some household objects, don't put them in, but I think, yeah, you're still
Oh
normal
yeah.
if you do it.
Oh my gosh, we've all humped our pillows. It's the best. And
Good.
kissed the
Okay,
watermelon,
good.
right? Like practiced on the watermelon. And we've all been there, haven't we? There's the
Yeah.
next question I find it's going to be very good. This is a good one. And this is such a personal thing, but it's good to talk about. One of our customers and our viewers wants to know what's the best way to go down on a woman or a man. So now we're talking blowjobs and cunnilingus. Where do we start here?
Well, I don't know about. Well, so I'm going to have to give the purely heterosexual perspective because I've never done it to a woman. Sorry. I feel it's great, and as a receiver, great times had by all. I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because that feels like a really specific thing about how you do that or what you do that. But I feel like really when it comes down to doing something like that, I think the most important part of it is just it being a conversation, something which like you and your partner discussing. In the same way that I think that I know what I want best for myself, I would imagine that any sexual partner does as well. And therefore being in a comfortable place where you can have that conversation with someone and have your partner be like, oh no, can you do it more like this? Or I like it like that. Or you in turn can say, oh, I don't want to do it that way. Or I don't like it when you put your hands there. Or, it's basically there is no one set rule for any of this. I think it's
Yes,
just being comfortable and confident enough to be able to say yes, or more importantly to say no and be able to explore it. That's, I think, the only rule is just communication.
absolutely.
That was going to be
Pamela?
my answer. Same
Yeah,
answer. Exactly the same. Just if
same
you
as
know
me too.
yourself,
Really bored.
yeah. And you have to be able to communicate with your partner, and that's number one.
Yeah, because it can be a scary thing, can't it? It's like, there's hygiene, there's pH balances, there's hormones, there's discussing whether do you like to do it on period or not period, or with the man, like what's their expectations, because there's, the oral sex performers out there that maybe we can't live up to, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it is, and at the end of the day, this whole piece about masturbation, May, and discussing this is about it's making it not so taboo and breaking these barriers because it is about communication. Whether or not what whoever you are, inclusive to what you are, is in every single question. I feel we're going to end it on a note as it's about communication and opening
Communication.
up that with their partners. All right, let's move on. Let's see. That was a great. Moving on. What now? Here I go back to the porn. Here's a question. Why do I come so fast when I'm watching porn? But it takes me ages to come when I'm having sex. And as much as I enjoy it, I can only come if I have my Lelo vibrator, of course, my sexy boyfriend bought me. But if not, I can't. I'm feeling very ashamed. What do you women think?
Maybe I would just want to start with we need to quit shaming ourselves as well, which is not so easy. I still feel ashamed when I masturbate, when I have sex. I think
You.
it's Yeah, I have those moments, of course, when
Okay.
I feel empowered, and then I have
What?
maybe not so much. And I, with society, with how I grew up, Catholic, and this and that, it's, I think it's
Yeah.
normal, but it's also for women. For, well, I'm speaking from this perspective, to just stop asking ourselves, is this normal? Is this, why am I ashamed? Is this like? It's good to ask, just to find where it comes from, but like, you're normal, everything's normal, you're okay. It's, you
Yeah.
should be trying this. You can, you can encourage yourself to try this, try something new, and just talk amongst ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Tatty. And Tatty, I want to hear your take on it as well. As I don't know or not if you are raised religious or not religious, or how you feel about that. Because as we segue out of this, there actually is a question from one of our customers and who participated in this Masturbation May campaign, who was wanted to talk about the religious aspects or the sort of another bit of the shameful aspect. So, what's your opinion,
Yeah.
Tat?
I think it's a really big question, and I feel like there's lots of different sections of it that I want to sort of separate. So, on the religious point, I wasn't raised religious. So I don't have that association with masturbation or sex in general. So I sort of like cut that to one side. But I think that shame around being a sexual woman is beyond the religious barrier. It's something which societally, the association between a woman being pure and virginal and that being her worth, and a woman being promiscuous and that making her dirty, is still something which on a low level continues. So I think
Yes.
there's a lot of shame associated with that, and that's like a bigger thing that I think that warrants a separate discussion.
Yes,
uh,
yes,
with this with this particular question, again, I would separate pornography with the experience of enjoying having sex with a partner with a sex toy. So just
yes.
on the point of pornography, I mean, I sometimes watch pornography. I don't want to sit here and say it's inherently negative. There's so many different types of porn, but there have
Mhm.
been like, what is it, studies done on pornography, because I wrote a short play about it, so I looked into it a little bit,
Ah,
which that the hit you get from pornography is so artificially strong that it kind of wires your brain in a way that is very different to the experience of having physical sex with someone. And that
that's
is
right.
something that people find, that the hit they get and the ability to open multiple tabs and to watch another video and another video is not
Mhm.
going to be as intense as the initial experience of being naked and vulnerable and intimate with someone. So they are different
Yes.
experiences. To anyone who's feeling that they're not getting the same high being naked with someone, that's completely normal. There's nothing wrong with you. And my only advice might be, in that case, think about perhaps weaning yourself off pornography a bit and thinking about trying to re-anchor yourself in the present with your partner. Then on the point
Yeah.
about enjoying sex with a partner with the help of a sex toy, a Ledo product, something in the space, I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I'm someone who um, struggles to come unless there's some sort of clitoral stimulation, whether that be hands or a toy or something. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, I certainly think that sex is something hopefully you're going to have throughout your whole life, and you can flex with it and explore it, and your body changes and things change and maybe partners change. And so I think that not to be hard on yourself if you're like, why am I not achieving this on my
Yeah.
own? Also, just to be present with whatever's working for you right now, you flow with that. And then who knows, years down the line or different situation, something might shift. So as long as you're getting something from it and you're enjoying it, ride that wave, go with that, whatever that, if it's
Absolutely.
right that you need to ride, that's the right wave.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. That is an amazing answer. Really, I couldn't have said it better myself. Pam, what do you think? What is your take on it?
Well,
On
for
on porn?
the
Because
shame
yeah.
on porn, I also watch it from time to time, but I think it's also it's two things. Maybe because we are so rushed in life, and then you just, I want to see this right now, and then you just have the option to see that and nothing else.
Yeah.
Then the second point would be, so there's no like foreplay, there's no, what works for you, you're not losing time, let's say, and then
Yeah.
you put it into this act, which is just let me just let it out. And then number two would be, it's just, are you comfortable with your body to be with a partner? Because that's also like when you're masturbating, you're by yourself, and this involves
Yes.
another person, emotions, thoughts, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the partner. So I think this is like so layered that it's heavy to answer. Just yeah.
It is. It's
And
incredibly
I would
layered. And
just wanted
go
to
on.
add that when this person wrote fingers don't do it, they don't do it for me either. I don't think I've ever orgasmed from fingering, and I've
Okay.
been fingered before. I tried fingering myself. It's just not there. That's why I have
Okay.
toys, and that's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. I feel like there's a majority of the population, I could be assuming, if you has a more enhanced orgasm when there's a G spot, C spot together, like
Hmm.
togetherness to have that experience. And that just comes, it comes with time and partnership and toy use or not toy use. But there is, thank you guys for those answers. I just had one little take on it as, um, because I'm a mom to boys, teenage boys, and I know that they are probably watching a bit of porn here and there, and really sitting them down and sitting, educating, I think educating our youth also about this difference again about performance and reality. And there's a reality bit that is so important to understand, that vulnerability, like you said, Tatty, the shame that may come with it, um, and that not everybody is performance. And look, I am a 100% advocate for sex workers because sex work is work, but identifying that difference between the two, especially for our younger generation, anybody, but I think that piece is very important as well to
Hmm.
touch on. But like this is, I mean, we could do a whole other series on this because it is very layered. Now there was a question um about when you masturbate. One second, I'm kind of going back and forth.
I think there's a different question on the screen now.
Oh, it's our one already on the screen. Sorry, I'm moving about, but there
Yeah,
was a
it's not
question
the
about
porn one. It's
sex number nine. Is this the pat due to my husband
Tatty.
Sorry,
Tatty?
here. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, we can move on to this one. Sorry, guys, we're just now talking, but um, there was a question I felt about masturbating in front of each other, partners masturbating in front of each
Mm.
other. We can skip over this one and move on if we need to. Um, okay, so this is a lovely question. I'm a recent widow from an older man. I'm a recent widow from an older man. Sex was never great and non-existent for the past 12 years. Wow. Due to my husband's health, I've never had an orgasm, especially nothing earth-shaking. When I have tried pleasuring myself, fingers don't do it. Care to help a lady out on how to get back at it? So this is actually quite a lovely question about regaining mojo, isn't it? Regaining
Mm.
love, self-love, and mojo, and positive body banter, and all that encompasses getting that mojo back. What do you
Yeah.
Let's start with you, Pam.
Well, my take was not, it was more of like what this person has been through in her life, and maybe just digging into that a little bit. Because, yeah, I don't know, it's hard to give advice just to, yeah, just go back at it because it sounds like she's trying, but it's also, I don't know, maybe therapy, maybe like conversations with different, yeah, someone professionals that can help with this kind of like experience and trauma. And it's not just you can wake up one day and be in love with yourself again and like do the act that you haven't done in 12 years. So I for me, my advice would be maybe like a conversation with an expert, or therapy is always good, sex therapy. Yeah, that would be my point of view.
Yeah. What's your take, Teddy?
I think it's a really exciting message. I think
Yeah.
it's I feel really I feel
I do.
so full of
I
joy.
find it exciting.
I find it so full of joy. I'm just like, yes, yes, absolutely. Like there is no timeline. There's no end point at which you can stop exploring yourself,
Yes.
discovering yourself, enjoying sex, enjoying yourself. Like there is no point at which that stops. And it's so wonderful for someone to be like, you know what? I want to start now. Like I want to start today. I'm going to begin this journey. Yeah, obviously it's super layered. There's lots of stuff that's gone on with that person. I obviously can't for a moment. I mean, my God, I'm a stand-up comedian. Don't come to me for therapy. But what? But you know, I can give you some advice on. I can give you some advice on sex toys, and I think is it Lily 3, which is
Lily
kind of
3 or Scylla, exactly, or Scylla. I would highly
also.
recommend Lily
I
3,
think
Scylla. Yeah.
that Lily 3 would be like a really good Lily. My personal favorite is the Scylla, but I think Lily 3 is also a really good option. That's
Yeah.
to say, like it's very kind of I'm going to call them like gentle but effective. I would say
Yes.
entry foray into masturbation and toys. I think they feel very like approachable if for someone who's maybe not had sex in a while and isn't sure how to go about it. And I would say that and lube, a
Yeah.
comfortable environment. Lily
Always.
3, you can use the bath. So that's another
Yes.
nice thing. Get some candles out. You just really want to create an environment in which you feel safe and you feel sexy. I would probably put on something quite nice. Get yourself a
Okay.
little silk nightie, a silk dressing gown, some
Yep.
candles, get the lighting going, and just put yourself in an environment where you're like, okay, I've got time to myself. I'm not rushed. I don't have to be anywhere. And I'm just going to explore this and see what works for me.
Exactly. And laugh. Make sure you always have that laughter. Don't take yourself seriously. And exactly, I would say a nice warm bath, positive body banter. Talk to your body, talk to the spots of your body that are not your favorite. Tell them that you love those spots of the body. Tell yourself, wow, like I have been through a lot. And yes, I miss my partner. I love this, but then another aspect of me is like, girl, just go out, also in the world, and get fucked in a bar and get it over with and done, right? And then your juices are kind of coming back, and you've got that one night stand, or have that like, I don't know, you go on Tinder for a week and just be like, look, all I want to do is have sex for a week, and that's it. I need to get my motor back running, my cobwebs, my vaginal cobwebs cleared. Like it's like
I'm
you could go either way.
I'm excited for her to feel desired
Yes,
again. I'm excited
yes,
because that is such an important feeling, I think, to know that you're desirable, to know you can know it, but just really to explore that I am
yes.
woman, I am desired, I am desirable, and I have desire. And just to like lock into that is really powerful.
It's beautiful. Anything left on? Oh, hello. Are you guys there? Oh God, sorry. I thought I
Yep.
lost you. Sorry. Okay, so another one we can kind of segue into, and in editing, we could put it in, is the one about teaching. Actually, let's segue into this one, number 11. Sorry, I'm not going in chronological order, guys. Let's
That's
do number
fine.
11. Okay, my wife and I, let's do that one. My wife and I are going through a rough patch.
Okay.
Um, I've been sleeping on the couch for a couple of months. She invites me into the room at the odd time for sex still. Okay. I really want her back and for us to be normal, but she's not sure what she wants anymore. Asking for a friend, wink, wink. We know you, we see you. And this is a really, I think also another very important and hot topic, especially post COVID. I know that we don't, it's like kind of over and done with now, but there's still some of this post COVID PTSD lingering about, with couples sort of locked in together and not really connecting the certain way that they were supposed to, or maybe growing apart, or maybe finding that they were in this sort of a rut or this routine and that they want to explore other things. So what do you guys think about this? Tatty, let's go with you first.
Well, it's difficult because obviously we just don't know at all what's going on in their relationship or from her
Right.
perspective. So I want to caveat that by saying I have no idea. But
Yeah.
what I would
Right.
say, having sex feels like a really good sign to me. I know for me personally, sex is an important part of a relationship, both in terms of the physical act and the enjoyment of it, but in terms of the intimacy and that sort of connection with another person. I know for me that if we have not been having sex, that is a bad sign. And sex would also be a way to reconnect and to repair when maybe there was a feeling of distance. So that's a really good sign. I don't know that you can achieve a successful relationship through sex. I mean, what I mean is, it's one form of communication. It's an important form of
Yes.
communication, but it can't do all of the talking for the relationship. So great
Right.
that it's there, at the heart of something. But it sounds to me like the issue isn't the sex. It sounds like it's kind of the stuff around it, if I'm honest.
That's it. Pam?
Yeah. First of all, I'm loving this because I have a different opinion again. So maybe 5 years ago I would just be nodding and saying me too, but now I just want to share like from my point of view. Again, it's communication, it's therapy, it's sex therapy. It can be just like connect with your partner and see what they want to do, how they feel. It's hard if the person doesn't know themselves, but it's just a matter of communication as well. And it's also, I think there's also different sex drives, which is not talked about enough. There's also asexual people that maybe don't have the desire to have like for me, sex is not a this huge important part of a relationship. There's so much more for me, but I also have friends that's like number one for them, and that's also fine. This is fine and this is fine. It's just a matter of like being okay with yourself and communicating with the partner. So it's hard for us to say like to solve this. But I think communicating and maybe trying to have like a mediator that can navigate your conversation, and see what's going on and how they can help you.
I agree with both of you. It's because it isn't, we don't know what the interworkings of the relationship are. And with the intimacy bit, intimacy can be so personal as well. It can be anything from, even if you're not having sex, and what is she saying? He's not sure what she wants anymore. It boils down to the love languages as well. Like, what if you're not supporting each other's love languages? Maybe you're not giving her
Yeah.
what she needs, and you're not telling her she's pretty, or this the little things sometimes on both sides, that we need to gain that intimacy back. And sometimes we think, oh, let's just go have sex, but maybe he needs to
Mhm.
think a little bit like, okay, for a week I'm going to just like, if her love language is words of affirmation, every day I'll leave her a little note on the refrigerator, or I'll watch a movie with her, or maybe like I'll say, do you want to have like a snog in the bathroom tonight at 5 o'clock, or something sexy and flirty and fun. So it doesn't always have to be sex. So this is
Yeah,
great.
it's all those things like leading up to sex as well, like throughout the day
Yeah,
talking. I think I've read it's called actually sexual currency. Maybe you know better, but it's like when you pass through in the kitchen and you touch each other's bottoms or stuff like this, like
yeah,
the look, the compliment, the stuff. So this all leads, like the touch, the it all leads to, yeah, to how sex is going to turn out as well. It's not just a matter of
yeah,
let's watch a movie and then let's go have sex now. That's,
exactly.
yeah,
But I think that's
Yeah,
also because otherwise sex can sometimes feel quite transactional in a relationship, where it's
very much.
just also if it's shall we have sex now, rather than you've seduced me, you've touched me, you've made me feel desired, you've built up a want, and then organically sex comes, as opposed to,
yes,
well, we're both in bed, it's early enough that we've got the time, and then I don't have to be up until this time. That's when it starts to feel transactional. And it's funny how so many can be fine depending on the setup. So if you're feeling very trusting and confident with a partner, maybe you're going to explore a sex which is a little bit more animalistic, let's say. You can have that same you can have the same sex with a different person where actually the trust is broken, you're not feeling in a good place with them, and it's received completely differently. So the state of the relationship and the communication between you and where you're at, it wildly changes how you're receiving the act of sex with that partner. So I think that's absolutely, the idea of sexual currency is so vital to all this.
This is great. And so now I want to move over to question number 10 now, which can segue into it, since I feel this is a very teaching moment, especially for our youth. So it's question 10 is, what do you recommend for teens and young adults in the way of masturbation, toys, other resources? Where can we steer? Where can we steer our youth? With everything that is going on now in the world, with different kind of agendas and sexual agendas and gender agendas and everything that's going on in the world, how do we sort of get back to basic sex education on how to move forward with social media and everything, and to teach our youth about masturbation, loving themselves, and where to start, and at what age do you think is a good place to start talking to our youth now about sex and sexuality and masturbation? Let's start with you, Pam, first.
Oof. That was a big question. You covered.
I know, because I also created my own questions within that. Sorry.
Yep. It was. It's a lot of questions. It's like, let me go back to being a child to all the way to now.
Yeah.
Well, first, it would be beautiful. I don't know how it is in the UK, but I know here there's almost no sex ed. Sex ed is just someone coming into a classroom and saying, there is condoms, don't say this word, don't do this. It's very like, super shameful, and we don't want to talk about this. We just got to cover it because it's part of like the subject of biology. But it's, yeah, we don't learn about genders, like sex, none of this. So a positive side of what you mentioned, like social media and the whole world being connected now, is that you can have podcasts like this, conversations like this. You can find people where you can learn from them, experts. There's people like literally giving their knowledge for free. There's doctors online. Of course, be careful and vet those people, and try to be critical a little bit. But I follow a lot of doctors where I learn literally stuff about my vagina and stuff that I didn't know, that I didn't learn in school. So that's definitely a good start and a good thing about the world just being connected nowadays. In regards to masturbation toys, maybe for me, maybe suction toys to start off, like Sona or Sila. Those are great products, and just be comfortable with yourself. It's nice if you have like a person to turn to, who you can, like a older person or someone who has more experience, who you can talk to, and just like they can make you comfortable, they can give you some good advice. So maybe
Absolutely.
try to search for a person that can give you good advice, and look online, but be careful when you look online. And
Cool. Amazing. Tatty?
Yeah, I would definitely echo what Pam is saying. And again, I have to go back to this point of, I'm definitely not a sexpert. I'm a stand-up comedian who, just has a real sort of like passion for like the positive conversation around women's sexual health, or not even women's sexualness, sexual being.
Yes.
I can only really rely on my personal experience growing up and how it was for me. I grew up in rural France. I don't ever remember having any kind of sex education whatsoever. Like, it was never even a conversation. Masturbation was a word that I discovered when I was 12, I think, in the playground. And I masturbated for the first time completely accidentally, didn't really know what was going on. So it has been a journey of discovery for me. But what I think is really important about masturbation on like a bigger scale is that we're talking a lot about communication. So you've got the importance of communicating with a partner, being able to say, yes, no, I like this, I don't like that, this is what I'm into, not just in terms of personal pleasure, but also in terms of just consent and boundaries. And to have that
Yes.
communication with a partner, you've got to have communication with yourself. You've got to know what you're about. You've got to know what you enjoy. Even from a basic level of just being like, what turns me on? Am I not even turned on by this? Am I more on an asexual scale? Am I aroused by the thought of being with men, women? Am I pansexual? Just
Yeah.
exploring all of that within yourself in the safest space, which is solo on your own, being able to really explore that for yourself. That's what I think is really powerful about masturbation. It isn't just about the
Yeah.
orgasm, it's about all of that, understanding yourself and having the power to go out into the world and say yes, but more importantly, say no.
Yes. There's also real taboo about moms buying sex toys for their daughters before they turn 18, which I feel should be very personal within the mom and daughter's relationship. But I've come across, moms I've wanted to get their daughters their first sex toys pre-18, so they understand and know what these feelings are, especially, and it's just part of the education piece. And I know this sort of goes beyond the question, but what point do you think is the right time for any teenager, let's say, or youth to own their first sex toy? Is it, I mean, uh, do you feel like you have to be 18, you have to be an adult, or is it something that parents can talk to about their kids pre-18?
I
I
don't
think
know,
it's
to be honest.
definitely.
Sorry,
Sorry.
I'll just, sorry, Pam, I'll just do it quickly. I don't know. I think it's important that it's part of a conversation. So that's all I would go
Hmm.
back to. Very much
Yeah.
just part of a
Yeah. Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it would be very delusional to talk 18 when we have like TV shows with 13-year-olds doing this and that, and
Yes.
we've also been 13. We also was 5, 6, and 7 running in the playground after boys or girls. Like you have this
Hmm.
in you, so it's just from my point of view, it's a little bit like you're closing your eyes if you're not talking to your children about it. and
Yes.
and now that I'm talking, I would just like to add, because I thought about this. People that usually know a lot about this, if you don't have anyone to ask, it's people who work in sex stores. Those people are amazing. Like they know everything. They're so fun always. They like give
Yes.
you tips and this and that, and then you see all types of. I just got the chills. You see all types of people there, like yeah, an old lady of, I don't know,
Yes.
17 browsing. I'm like, let me see my future. Then you see, teenagers, you see couples, you see it's a nice place to yeah, empower also yourself and to get some information.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And we at Lalo also really pride ourselves on the education piece of not only our brand and our toys, but because we are 20 years old and we are celebrating this massive milestone of of an anniversary, that we hold ourselves pretty dear to the education piece. Now, let's talk. This is a great question. I'm going to go to number 5. Speaking of sex shops, um, I'm going to go to number 5. Is vibration to your, now we're going to talk about anal play. Is vibration to your prostate safe? Don't want to cause prostate problems in the future, but I love my Hugo. We love Hugo also. It's one of our top selling products. The P spot is something that I feel is super taboo, but also like once a man understands the P spot and the beautiful orgasm achieved, if that's rubbed the right way or touched the right way, what a great experience it could be. What do you guys think? Let's go you, Tatty, first.
I don't know enough about this. So you're asking me something which I
Me neither.
don't know about.
Okay.
I've heard it sounds great, and I encourage guys to go for it.
Me too. And yeah.
Well, okay, so let's talk from our perspective then on this, because I think it's just important to have a little bit of a conversation. I mean, have you ever stuck your fingers up a man's butthole before and played around up there?
I It's not happened to me, but
Okay,
I think that's because still there is a bit of shame with a lot of men around
sure.
discomfort, around feeling uncomfortable around that,
Yeah,
and because sex is always an experience where you have to be like, what are you up for? I very much
yeah,
leave it up to them what their boundaries are.
yeah, exactly. Pam, anal play?
Same, same.
Yes, no, same, same.
I'm for it, but I don't have any experience in it, so I would like
Yeah,
I would not go into this discussion. But I
well, this
can
can
say
open up.
that Lilo,
Yeah,
we can. I was gonna say that Lilo has a lot of information online, and it's like I love the like the little comics under each toy. There's like a description on how to use it. So just to
yes,
like answer the question, I think Lilo has those answers online as well, and I've gotten
absolutely.
good feedback from my supporters and followers on Instagram. So that's the only thing I can say.
And to the person that asked the question, we love the Hugo as well. It is one of our it's a Lalo classic. It'll never there's it's our tried and true. We love it. So it's actually great because we can open up that conversation to another time, possibly with a expanded panel. We can talk about
Yes,
some booty. We can
yes.
talk
Yes.
about some booty.
I I, I can
I
send
didn't
you some.
think I was going to say that, but more men, more men.
I can give you
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some phone numbers. You're going to get some people on here. They are just, I know
Oh
some people.
yeah. I think between all of us, we know people that know people.
Probably,
All right.
probably this.
Now, all right, let's move on to okay, I think we've covered a lot. So now I feel like we need to number 12. Even though we've had a few nuances to our own personal experiences, but number 12, let's recount a funny personal experience regarding masturbation, whether it be yourselves or a friend, or let's recount some funny stories like what I touched on before. You don't have to take yourself seriously. Tatty said, put on that dressing gown, warm bath, touch yourself, positive body banter, and laughter. Laughter is also very, very medicinal in sort of the sexual journey as well. So let's go. Who wants to go first?
Well, I tell you, I'll
Let's
share
go.
with you.
Tatty first. Tatty first.
No, well, also, this is quite funny because I did a stand-up show for Valentine's Day. And as part of the sort of like to celebrate this day of love, I did a Lelo giveaway. So I was giving away, I think it was the Lily 3. And so I asked everyone to send in stories, sort of like sexual experiences, funny dates, and I'd give it
Yeah.
away to the person in their story. And one of the stories that came through was this woman, and she said, I was having like a solo evening to myself. I think it was even Valentine's Day. She said, I was spending Valentine's Day on my own. And so I spent it me, one, two, three, a couple of toys. And I was like, okay, fantastic. So she had washed up her toys after she'd finished and she'd left them on the side of her sink in her bathroom. And then she said the
Yes.
next day, the communal gardener had come over and he'd said, hey, can I use your bathroom?
Uh-huh.
And she'd gone, of course. And
Yeah.
he'd gone in,
Why not?
come out. And she was like, I have not been able to look him in the eye since, which I just thought was hilarious, but also wonderful because it opened up a whole conversation around like, yeah, fuck it. Like, great. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes. You know what? There was something about, I mean, obviously I didn't give her the toy because I was like, babe, you've already got enough to, like, you're fine. Like, clearly you're looking after yourself. I'm going to save this for the
Yes.
woman who hasn't even tried a sex toy yet. But I was
Right.
like, you're obviously having a great time with yourself. Not one,
Right.
not two, but a couple of toys, interchanging, Valentine's Day on her own. And I just thought, yes, that's what it's about. I celebrated that. I was
Yeah.
like, you're living. You know what you're about. That's great.
Yeah. I love that story. That's a great one. Pam, yours?
This is a good thing. I actually remember, I thought, I didn't think I was going to have a story, but I remembered one. But before that, I wanted to say, when I started with vibrators, I had a dildo, which was super realistic, and my mom found it. And good thing about Lelo and stuff is that no one knows what it is actually. It can be like a
You know,
face
that's, yeah,
cleanser, neck massager, whatever.
Yeah,
No one
yeah,
knows
yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
Well,
yes.
my
yeah.
funny story was actually, I when I was, I think I was like 13. I found a tape of it was like VCRs back then and stuff, and I watched the tape, and it was like a sex movie. I don't know, I don't remember. And then I just remember I was starting like getting in my zone, like realizing what's happening, and then the video just cut because it was over tape with the Wheel of Fortune. It was like a Croatian show. And I'm like, is this supposed to happen in a porn movie? What's
Oh
going
my
on? He was a plumber, now he's an
Oh,
announcer.
so good.
Yeah, it was. Uh-uh.
I'm trying to think of my funny one. I think my funniest masturbation story is when my twins were about 3, and I thought that they were in a nap, and I and I went in to have like a sexy sesh, but also at the time I was trying to work on my pelvic floor as well, right? So I was trying to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone and work on my pelvic floor and have a sexy solo sesh. And so I had a vibrator. I was like I was about ready to like I was like getting there, and it was inside of me, and the twins come like walking in, and I'm like hot and flushed, and they're like, "Oh, mommy, we want juice." I'm like, "Fuck." So I literally kept it inside of me vibrating because I was working on my kegels too, right? I was like, "Let me see if I can push this shit out or not." I kept it inside of me while I went down to the kitchen, got their juice, put them back into their bed,
A
and
soldier,
I
a
finished myself
soldier.
off. It's what I did. And I didn't even push it out. I was like, oh, well done, well done. I mean, again, my kegels have gone to shit. But at that moment, I was very proud that I was able to hold that in while I was
Wow,
doing some like good, like
Honest,
motherly tasks.
Cam, not all heroes
wow.
wear.
Exactly.
It was good. It's like, I mean, I had to been quiet. I mean, there were 3. I don't think they even realized that there was like zzz, like going on around mommy's like lower extremities.
This
Yeah,
happened to me recently. I had I had a Lelo in my bag. I was flying from Croatia to Belgium to see some friends, and we
Yeah.
were like, I think I was just like pushing the bags. I was getting out of the car, something. I don't know how it turned on. In the middle, we was in the elevator, 3 of us, and we just
Yes.
like it's silence, and you just hear zzz, and I'm like, what is this? Zzz, and we couldn't figure it out. And then at the top,
Oh,
like we exit the elevator, and I feel it in my bag. I'm like, oh my gosh, guys, this is my vibrator. Like, really?
that's
You
I'd be
couldn't
like, oh,
you
it's my
couldn't come here
toothbrush.
for
It's
a
my
weekend?
toothbrush. It's my toothbrush. No big deal.
Yeah.
No big deal. Oh, I love those stories, guys. I love them. Okay, I think. How do you guys feel? I mean, I feel like we've touched on pretty much everything, kids to prostate to marriage to harmful ways. So I'm going to, oh, this is a really lovely question. Let's close it out with number 14, which is actually the last question, but a beautiful one. Um, what advice would you give to your younger self regarding self-love? So this can be
Oof.
anything. I mean, it's again, it could be masturbation, it could be anything. So, what advice would you give? Let's go, Tatty.
wow. It's
I know it's deep. It's a deep one.
but lovely. I'm thinking about it because I want to give the fullest answer. What advice would I give my younger self about self love? Um, to have it, to feel
Yeah,
it, to be
yeah,
it. Um,
yeah.
I think that what I've really tried to embrace with myself, and what I just really try to always go back to, is self-love isn't about thinking that you are the best or the prettiest or better than anyone else. It's not a measure which is, I put this stick in the stand and where am I in relation to this stick. Self-love very much comes from a place of just, I am enough. It doesn't matter what I look like in that moment at that time. My value is deep. It's me fundamentally, my intelligence, me being funny, my personality, the fact that I'm kind, the fact that I'm all of these different things. And it's just going back to, I am enough, not tomorrow, not in a week, not when I've lost 5 pounds. Right now, in this moment, I am enough. And I really try to fall back on that. I'm an individual. I am who I am. I'm different to everyone else. And that is enough. So if you can hang on to that, I feel like that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Beautiful, Tatty. Pam?
That is very beautiful and a
It was
hard
beautiful.
act to follow. But
Yeah.
yeah, I would say something similar. Maybe just what I would say to myself would be, you deserve pleasure as you are. You deserve happiness as you are. You don't need to fix your eyebrows, your lips, your pussy lips.
Yeah.
You deserve it as you are. And also, pleasure is not only what you see in porn and movies and like even non-porn movies, like regular movies. It's what you have already. It's just a matter of finding it and being comfortable with it.
Yeah. I mean, both are beautiful answers, and I think for me, it is as a child of the '80s and '90s. This is very before Me Too, very before, like a little bit after women's lib, but not. And so I think I would tell myself, you don't have to use your sexuality to get to, because I had boobs before everybody. I had my period before everybody. And I didn't have to use that to feel like I had to maneuver through life, that I was really, really smart and talented and kind, like what you said, Tatty, that I wasn't just this object of the desire of men. And I think I would
Mm-hmm.
tell myself, or anybody now, you know, hold your values true to you and never ever ever let go of those values to settle for anything or feel like you need to get there because of your sexuality, or using that to your advantage to get where you need to be, because there's so many things that you are. I am enough, like what you said. I am enough in
Mm.
this moment. I am enough in this time. I Just because I have, boobs and red lipstick on and gold hoops doesn't mean that I'm just this person like an ice cream. I'm a whole brain and body and life and experience, and I think that's what I would tell myself.
Mm.
And then go to therapy.
Yep. Same.
Can I just say
Same.
that I'm an advocate of therapy, and sexual therapists right now are so well educated, studied and versed, and even in schools nowadays, even in the UK, I feel that schools are even enhancing their education with sex and sexuality, and teaching consent, and that consent is hot and sexy and cool as well. So wow. That was
Beautiful.
heavy to end it on, isn't it? But
Yep,
wonderful.
it is.
I really, really enjoyed our time together, ladies. Thank
Yes.
you so much.
When
Thank you so
when's the
much.
podcast coming out? We need to launch a podcast now, clearly.
Okay. What would we call it? What would we call it?
And if I have to, I'll come to London so we can shoot there. It's
Oh,
not a problem.
shame. Yes. I was saying we need to just get like one massive like Airbnb, and just literally like every single sexual person or revolution person we just need to stay in there and do it. I went to last week I went to Florence Bark's book signing, And I do know who Florence, Tatty, Florence, Bark,
Yeah.
and Reed, yeah. And I'm sure you know them too, Pam. The Come Curious girls.
I
Are
don't
you
think so.
familiar with them?
Oh, you should check that
Ah,
out. You should
oh,
check that
Pam,
Okay,
you
out.
okay.
love
Well,
them. Yeah. There's this whole like really beautiful, and Tatty, now you're 100% included in this. You are a sexual influencer naturally, darling. So there's this really beautiful community of men and women in London that are like doing very, very cool things.
Yeah.
And it's really, I mean, I've been on board Lalo a bit over 5 years, but I've personally loved Lalo for the 20 years it's been around. I've had all the Lalo products. Um, and I've even when I hopped on board 5 years ago and some change, it wasn't as revolutionary as is now. So it's beautiful to see this kind of London crop of influencers and campaigners and therapists and doctors that also support Lalo as a brand, and that we can support them in their advocacy. So I'm just loving watching the whole journey of everything.
Yeah. And I think it's
Yeah.
actually one of the fun things, one of the nice things that is coming out of social media is that it's
Yeah.
this space in which people can speak and they can take space
Yes.
and they can discuss. I think that I feel like when I was growing up, anything to do with sex was like late night television. Even if it was a sex
Yes.
toy or masturbation, it was something that was late at night, part of something which was a bit shameful, adult-esque, and it was clubbed together with pornography. And actually now with social media, we're having these daytime chats. We're bringing into
Yeah.
the mainstream conversations, which are really about something which is fundamental and really positive and which isn't dirty and no one needs to be ashamed of, and really finding the nuance and disassociating masturbation, sex toys with like
Yeah.
hardcore pornography. They're not all the same thing, and there's nothing to be ashamed of in owning
Yeah.
your pleasure.
I think it's
I do
phenomenal.
love that Lelo really, they really let people be themselves, and that's what I experienced with them. They never like restricted me. They never, you choose some people to speak about something and then you put limits on them. That's
Yeah.
not the same person anymore. And Lelo really like pushes people and just lets them be themselves, and I love that about the brand, really.
Fantastic. So as we are wrapping up this discussion, we know that we could go on and on. Like I said, there was a plethora of questions that we had to sift through, but the one question that I would like to ask the ladies now is, what is your favorite lay low toy? Tatty, let's go with you first.
My favorite toy, it's the first toy that I got. It has transformed masturbation for me. It's the Scylla Cruise. If there's one toy you get, make it that one.
I totally agree. That's my favorite. Pam?
Soraya, always my best friend. So if you get
Which
another toy,
Soraya?
get Soraya.
Soraya Wave. Soraya Wave or
Yes, indeed.
Soraya 2?
Soraya Wave.
Soraya Wave. Those
Soraya
are my
Wave.
favorites. So I would say I have two, because only because I've known the brand for so long. But my first favorite toy is the GG2, which is a Lalo classic in our portfolio. If you have her, you will love her. A perfect G-spot toy. And then, like Tatty, it's definitely Scylla. And I like Scylla, the original Scylla, better than the Cruise, but that's my personal preference. So, look, you have so many choices. There is a toy for every part. There's clitoral stimulation. There is G-spot stimulation. There is prostate massagers, all the way to men and couples and C shapes and vibrators galore. So I just want to thank our panel so much, Tatty and Pam. You have been absolutely bloody brilliant, and I cannot wait to talk to you again. And if you enjoyed this Masturbation May and you enjoyed these forums, send us a note, send us a message. Let us know if you have any other questions or subjects that you want us to talk about. And we will see you soon.